You ever watch someone cross your bedroom threshold like they own the place? That was the scene. A crisp Thursday morning, me in my garage, coffee in hand, staring at my monitor as Karen Delqua, HOA vice president, heel already planted on my bedroom carpet, strutted in like she was the star of her own low-budget cop drama. You know what I mean? She didn't knock. She didn't hesitate. She just marched right in, badge on her lapel, eyes scanning for evidence of whatever imaginary infraction she'd conjured up this week. Whispering Pines, she said, has standards. Yeah, that happened. She started with her script, Section 8B, internal safety check, her voice all official, but if you looked close, her hands shook just a bit. The door clicked shut behind her. She missed the red sensor light above the molding, didn't notice the tiny lens inside the sprinkler head tracking her every move. And me? I'd set this up for weeks. You could call it a trap. I called it insurance. So let me back up a sec. Name's Ethan Sorrell. Ex-Navy, ran electronic warfare until my nerves frayed, and now I do security consulting. Only legal, only digital, and never for free. Whispering Pines was supposed to be our safe landing. Me and Emily, my wife, left California behind. Too many break-ins, too much fallout, and not enough sleep. Emily's still healing, and to this day, she keeps a fan on just to muffle the memory of boots on our old hardwood at 3 a.m. But this was different. This was personal. Karen's citations had piled up. Paint, bush, visual clutter. All invented, none sticking. So I did what any reasonable guy with a soldering iron and trust issues would do. Retrofitted the hallway. Rewrote the smart lock. Hid RFID trackers. Rigged a drawer with staged documents and a hot mic that would trigger the second her hand touched anything inside. The whole setup was more for me than for her. I needed to know if I was paranoid, or if I was right to keep my guard up. And when I promised Emily nobody would violate her space again, I meant it. 32 seconds in, Karen's curiosity beat out her sense. She opened the drawer, touched the staged ADA memo, zoning paperwork, receipts that looked official but led nowhere. All of it logged. Video, audio, the works, and 4 redundant server uploads in real time. See, after a decade in the Navy, you learn battles are fought quietly. It's not sirens, it's paperwork and silent keys and locks you didn't give out. I watched Karen drift around our bedroom, queen of her little fiefdom. Meanwhile, every violation was ammo. I'd watch the board do their parade, Karen up front with her clipboard brigade. They never smiled. They measured lawns, cited mailbox heights, and once dinged me for a workbench my dad built with his own hands. Non-compliant exterior storage. That bench outlasted most of the rules here. 3 citations in a month. Every one dismissed before the ink dried. I tried to appeal. Karen shut it down herself, never even letting the board see my side. So I moved the bench. 2 feet. Added sensors, tuned the transmitters. Next, a citation for a rosemary bush. The thing was there before we moved in, for crying out loud. I trimmed it anyway. Then came the kicker, window clutter. Our blinds weren't even open. That's when I knew it wasn't about the rules. It was about who could make you jump. At that point, I stopped playing defense. Cracked the firmware on the HOA's locks. Found out they hadn't updated in 4 years. Routed every log entry to my own network. Emily just watched, arms folded, eyes steady. This is going to be Fresno all over again, she whispered. No, I said, not this time. This time, we see it coming. The next HOA meeting, I didn't go to talk. I went to watch. Karen ran the show. 2 board members flanked her, scribbling notes, but never speaking. One guy, Marcus, barely looked up from his notepad. When the meeting ended, I caught his eye. Just a flicker. He looked away fast, but not before I saw the fear. That night, I set the final piece. The hallway sensor linked to cloud, the new mic embedded behind the trim, motion cam prepped. All I needed was for Karen to do what she always did. Wait. And sure enough, she came back, bold as brass, at 3 a.m. This time, she paused. Hallway colder, just a touch of fog from the HVAC vent I'd opened, enough to make her doubt herself. She left quick, but not before I logged her badge, her footsteps, her voice muttering, "Stupid trap. Gotcha." Then, out of nowhere, Marcus messaged me. "Can we talk?" Park bench. Neutral ground. He handed me a battered flash drive, eyes darting around like we were in some spy movie. "It's just audio," he said. "Board meetings. She doesn't know I back everything up. What I heard stopped me cold. Karen, dismissing the broken ADA pool lift. It's not our problem unless someone gets hurt. Marcus, voice shaking, trying to object. We manage perception, she snapped. That was it. The line that made all this more than just HOA drama. Now it was federal. I built my evidence packet. Footage, logs, audio, emails from neighbors about the broken lift. Patel, the guy who filed the original complaint, had never even gotten a response. I formatted it, no drama, just facts, and sent it off to the city. Marcus kept feeding me the digital receipts, deleted minutes, purged emails, all of it. The dude had built the internal server himself, years ago, and Karen never knew. Now he was done being quiet. Funny thing happened then. The neighborhood started changing. Signs in the yards. Who watches the watchdogs? Quiet conversations at mailboxes. Emily found posts online, anonymous residents saying Karen had been in their backyards late at night. Turns out I wasn't the only one collecting evidence. The next board meeting? I didn't go inside. I didn't need to. The video dropped on the neighborhood forum at 8 p.m. sharp. 6 minutes of pure truth. Karen on camera, inside homes. Audio of her calling ADA compliance a resale optics issue. Comments stacked up like firewood. People tagging the city, reporters, each other. By 8:30, the crowd at the clubhouse was buzzing. Marcus messaged me. She tried to shut it down. The crowd wouldn't let her. The vote of no confidence happened right then and there. Motion called. Hands up, Karen suspended. The room didn't cheer, they exhaled. Relief more than triumph. She just gathered her papers, walked out, and didn't look back. They held a special election 3 days later. Marcus ran. He stood up front, tie straight, voice calm, recited every date, every violation, every lie. I was part of the silence, he said. But not anymore. Karen tried to defend herself. Procedure, stewardship, order, but nobody clapped. One neighbor shouted, "Did we ask you to enter our homes?" She sat down. The ballots were transparent, literal plexiglass boxes. Results weren't close. Marcus won. Karen disappeared. Neighborhood felt lighter overnight. I stood in my garage that morning, sunbeams stretching over the workbench, dust spinning in the light. Emily brought coffee, didn't need to say a word. We'd broken something open, and not just for us. The city emailed. Open investigation for ADA violations, misuse of authority, procedural negligence. Karen named Marcus clean. The board had 60 days to fix it all or face the fines. Justice isn't quick, but when it hits, it lands hard. Marcus stopped by, no clipboard, just a folder. They want the master key clause gone, new locks everywhere. He offered me a board seat. I said no. I don't need to sit at the table. I just make sure it's not rigged. He understood. That night, porch lights glowed on every block. Neighbors nodded, some waved, some even smiled. People talked in the open now, not whispering, not hiding. That's the thing about the truth. It burns the brush away and lets the grass grow back stronger. Yeah, Karen was just one of many. There'd be others, sure, but next time, people would think twice. They'd remember that sometimes the trap closes the other way. So what do you think? Did I go too far, or not far enough? Drop your take in the comments. What's your line in the sand when it comes to community, privacy, and standing up to people who push too far? And if you've got a story like this, I want to hear it. Hit subscribe, share where you're watching from, and let's keep the light on for the next person who needs it.